What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 79. We got Rafael Fiziev going against Mateusz Gamrot.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another DraftKings MMA picks video. This week we are breaking down an 11-fight card in UFC Vegas 79. And yeah, it's kind of a lot different than the last couple weeks. The last couple weeks, there have been like no underdogs sticking out whatsoever, and a lot of these favorites have came through. This week's kind of like the complete opposite, whereas there's a lot of underdogs actually sticking out. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to make lineups this week. Last week, the optimal lineup was wild. I think there was 2 losers on the optimal lineup. This week, I don't think that's the case. I think some of these underdogs do come through, and I think we're getting a little bit back to normal with this slate. So that's going to be good. Before we get started and get into the picks, if you guys can please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you do want to support me more, or if you do want extra content, be sure to sign up at dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find the stats, targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, optimizer, DFS article, and so on and so forth there. And be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And I'll touch on my favorite underdog play later in the video here. But yeah, I say we get into it. And we're going to start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. And yeah, I guess we've been used to a lot of, heavy, favored fights to end inside the distance. This week it's not the case. We have one that is heavily favored to end inside the distance and not much else. So I think we do see a lot of decisions on this card. And out of these 4 fights, I think probably 2 out of 4, maybe 3 out of 4 do finish inside the distance. But yeah, I see a lot of decisions on this card actually, but not in this one. We got Andre Fiallo going against Tim Means, minus 275 for the fight, doesn't go the distance. I think somebody is getting served in this one. We have 2 guys that are dangerous and 2 guys where, most importantly, I don't think they have the best durability. Tim Means has been finished 9 times at this point of his career. Andre Fiallo has been finished 7 times in this point of his career. So both these guys, I think their durability is not great. Tim Means now 39 years old. Andre Fiallo has a lot of power, and Tim Means has decent power in his own right. I think these guys are going to throw down, and I think somebody's probably getting knocked out here within the first 2 rounds. So, I personally lean Andre Fiallo, but in terms of the price tag, $8,900, it definitely is steep. I feel like this fight's a lot closer than the salary does indicate, and the money line is closing a lot. Like, there's a lot of money coming in on Tim Means. So yeah, I think it's a fight to target. I think Tim Means is a very live underdog just because Andre Fiallo, I don't think he can take a shot, but I also don't think Tim Means can. So really good fight to target here. I think somebody's getting served in this one. Next, we have Brian Battle going against AJ Fletcher, and this is a fight that I think is a good one to target. We got Brian Battle, 8,700. With Brian Battle, you're looking at a lot of volume. You're looking at some finishing upside. Brian Battle can get it done wherever the fight takes place. He has power on the feet. We've seen that in his last couple fights, and he also has a very slick submission game as well. He's going to have the cardio advantage. With all that said, AJ Fletcher, 7,500. He has wrestling upside here. We've seen Brian Battle taken down easily. Brian Battle's takedown defense is not great. The problem with AJ Fletcher is I don't think he has 3-round cardio. I think he has about 7.5 minutes cardio, and that's going to be a problem here, I think. So I kind of lean Brian Battle getting the finish down the stretch, but if AJ Fletcher can hold up for 2 rounds, maybe he can win a decision. I'm not sure he finishes Brian Battle, so although AJ Fletcher does have some upside here as an underdog, I do lean the Brian Battle side. But another good fight to target. AJ Fletcher, wrestling upside, Brian Battle, late finish upside there. Next, we have Jacob Malkoun going against Cody Brundage, minus 140 for the fight doesn't go the distance. This is one I could potentially see going the distance, just because Jacob Malkoun's not really finishing anybody. I actually think he could potentially get his first UFC finish here, though. And yeah, I think this is a good fight to target, mostly on the Jacob Malkoun side, though. 9,500 for Malkoun. He has a ton of upside here with the wrestling, with the takedowns, with the control. I could see him going out there and getting upwards of 5, 6, 7, 8 takedowns if he needs to. A ton of control time. I think Cody Brundage's first round knockout or bust, first round Gilly or bust, and for that reason, Cody Brundage, as far as like a dart throw, not the worst look in the world because he's going to be dangerous early, but as this fight goes on, I expect Malkoun to wear on Brundage and potentially get him out of there late. So I do like the Malkoun side in this one. Another solid fight to target, but mostly for the Malkoun side for me. And then we got the main event, Rafael Fiziev going against Mateusz Gamrot. This is a fight that I'm actually taking to go the distance. I think it does go the full 25, and it's a striker versus grappler matchup. We got Fiziev 8,500, Gamrot 7,700. In terms of a pure pick, it's a close fight in my opinion. I think it can go either way. I think it's going to go the full 25. I think it's going to come all the way down to the judges' scorecards, which we know is terrifying. So from a DraftKings perspective, I kind of lean the Gamrot side because we're getting a price savings of $800 here, and he's going to have all the wrestling upside here, all the control upside, and I think Gamrot has a pretty high floor and high ceiling as well, whereas with Fiziev, if he doesn't get the early finish, I do have a concern about how well he does score, but, Fiziev does have a lot of power. I think it's a great main event to target. I think the winner does score well, and I'm going to be pretty equally exposed to both fighters. I lean Gamrot, though, because of the price and because of the wrestling, though. Let's get on to our core plays. We have Jacob Malkoun here, 9,500. Wrestling upside. I mean, this guy can wrestle for days. He is a black belt in BJJ for what it's worth. He doesn't have a submission on his record, but I kind of feel like that might change in this fight. But yeah, Jacob Malkoun, just ridiculous. Landing 7.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. I mean, if he goes out there and gets 7 takedowns, I mean, he's going to pay off this $9,500 price tag. 7-8 takedowns, a ton of control time, some strikes on the mat. I mean, this guy can go up there and put up over 100 points this week. So I think it's a good matchup. Brundage is going to be dangerous early, but that's about it. I like Jacob Malkoun here quite a bit, and he's going to be very popular, but for a very good reason. Next, we got Mateusz Gamrot, 7,700. We talked about the main event a tad. Yeah, I mean, in terms of a pick, like I said, I think I ever so slightly lean Fiziev, but it's a super close fight. At least with Gamrot, this guy is going to go out there and attempt a ton of takedowns in this matchup. Gamrot's landing 5.5 or 4.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, and you got to believe he's going to attempt something crazy here, like 20, 25 takedowns even, because you can't strike with Fiziev. You just can't do it. So I expect Gamrot to be pushing this against the cage, mixing in takedowns here, getting some takedowns, and across 25 minutes, I think he can put up a pretty decent score here. I'm not sure he finishes Fiziev. I'm not sure if anybody gets finished in this matchup, but I do like the Gamrot side from a DraftKings perspective as an underdog, 7,700. But like I said, it's a main event where I don't have a strong lean one way or another, and I'll be pretty equally exposed to both sides. Next, we got Andre Fiallo, 8,900. I think this fight is borderline must target. We talked about the durability of both guys. Tim Means, 39 years old at this point. We've seen him get hurt in multiple fights, and Andre Fiallo, he's not great at many things, but what he is great at is he hits like an absolute truck. I think these guys are going to throw down. Tim Means is going to come forward. He's going to oblige in a war, and I'm not sure Tim Means has the chin to go out there and survive some of these big shots from Andre Fiallo at this point of Tim Means' career. Tim Means has been in the UFC for so long. This guy has like 48, 49 fights at this point. I think Andre Fiallo has a good chance to knock him out, and if it happens, it's early because Andre Fiallo's cardio kind of sucks. Brian Battle, we also touched on him, 8,700. I love the output. I love the durability. I love the cardio. This guy can put on a pace. I think, once this fight reaches the second round, it's going to heavily favor Brian Battle. He's going to be the guy with the better cardio. I feel like he has a lot of finish upside here as well. I feel like he has finish upside with a potential knockout. He hits like a truck. AJ Fletcher doesn't have the best striking defense. And then also I feel like a submission could be live as well. AJ Fletcher, tiring out, getting sloppy, and Brian Battle potentially snatching up a neck there. So I like Brian Battle to get a finisher in the second or third round, and at 8,700 I think is a solid play there. Moving on to the GPP plays here. Rafael Fiziev. I haven't, made my lineups yet, but, I feel like I'm going to be somewhat 50-50, maybe a little bit more towards the Gamrot side because of the price and because of the wrestling, but, Fiziev's going to be the better striker here. Fiziev's going to pump out a lot of volume. I think Fiziev's going to get a knockdown or two. Gamrot's been knocked down in his last 3 fights. He hasn't been knocked out yet, but maybe that changes here, but, yeah, like I said, I think this goes to full 25. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be up to the judges. Fiziev's going to put up solid volume across 25, a knockdown here or there as well. So yeah, I lean Gamrot from a DraftKings perspective, but I will have some Fiziev, that's for sure. Not sure I'm going to do yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be pretty close to 50-50, maybe slight lean Gamrot in terms of the ownership. Charles Jourdain, 8,300. This is a good fight. I think it's a good fight to target even Jourdain, Ricardo Ramos. It's a fight where I think they're going to go to war. Both these guys want to throw down. Both these guys want to put on an exciting fight. We're in the apex. We're in the small cage. And the thing that has me leaning towards the Jourdain side is one thing and one thing only, and that's durability. One of these guys in this matchup is durable, and that is Charles Jourdain. And one guy's just not really. Ricardo Ramos, he's been finished several times in the UFC, whereas Charles Jourdain, he's been finished once in his entire career. That is 21 fights. Ricardo Ramos finished in 75% of his losses, 2 by knockout, 1 by sub. So I like the durability of Charles Jourdain, and like I said, I think these guys are going to throw down. So I like Jourdain to potentially even get a finish here at 8,300. I think is a very solid play this week. Bryce Mitchell, 8,800. Frustrating matchup here for me. It's a really close fight, and the lines and the salaries don't really indicate it that it's a close fight. It's a striker versus grappler matchup. I don't think you can ignore Bryce Mitchell here at 8,800. No matter how live I think Dan Ige is, you can't ignore Bryce Mitchell, because if Bryce Mitchell's able to have his way, if Bryce Mitchell's having success in this matchup, he's probably going to put up the highest score on the entire slate, probably between him or Jacob Malkoun or somebody in the main event. Bryce Mitchell can wrestle. He can wrestle very well, and that's the one thing Dan Ige has struggled with throughout his career. Bryce Mitchell landing over 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Not only that, Bryce Mitchell's control is very good as well. So, although I don't love the price tag, Bryce Mitchell, if he wins this fight, he's going to score very, very well. And then Muhammad Usman, 8,400. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I don't necessarily agree with these salaries. I feel like this fight should be closer to a pick'em, the Collier-Usman fight. But if Usman's having his way, what is he going to do? He's going to go out there. He's going to get takedowns. He's going to get control. I worry about Jake Collier. I do. Jake Collier has not really faced a takedown attempt since he's been at heavyweight. So I'm concerned about what he looks like if he's getting wrestled, what he looks like if he's getting taken down, what he looks like on his back. That concerns me a little bit. With that said, Jake Collier looks to be in the best shape he has been in for years, but Muhammad Usman, I think he does have that path with the wrestling, and if he is able to win this fight, expect takedowns, control time, and probably a solid score from Usman. But I have a weird feeling about this fight. All right, we'll move on to the Underdog Fantasy Play of the Week. Last week, we were able to hit the Raul Rosas Jr. lower on fight time, which was set at 4. He got it done at about 1, so shout out to Raul Rosas Jr. for cashing that. This week, we are taking another lower, and we're going with Andre Fiallo, 9 minutes fight time. I like it. I think somebody gets finished here before that third round starts. Both these guys, we touched on the durability. It's not there from either side. Both guys are dangerous on either side. I think somebody's getting served here under 1.5 rounds. And lower than 9 minutes fight time. I like that quite a bit. If you want to check out that play and much more, be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Helps me, helps you, free money. And we've been hitting these plays of the week recently. So let's see if we can keep it going here with a Andre Fiallo lower on fight time. Moving on to live dogs, and there's a lot of live dogs this week. Like, I can even list some more that's not even on this page, but these are the ones that I do like the most from a Draftkings perspective. Dan Ige, 7,400, striker versus grappler matchup. Bryce Mitchell is going to have a big advantage in the grappling, We've seen Dan Ige taken down. We've seen him controlled a little bit, but in the striking, Dan Ige is going to have a big advantage. If it turns out Dan Ige is able to stuff some takedowns, work his way back up, keep it on the feet for long periods of time, Dan Ige is going to look like the favorite in this matchup. Can he do it? We'll have to see. But, Dan Ige, 7,400, knockout power, the much better striker. I don't hate some shots here on Dan Ige whatsoever. I think he's a very, very live dog this week. And overall, it's a really good fight to target. These striker versus grappler matchups are ones I really like targeting, because Bryce Mitchell can go out there and put up a massive score with his wrestling, and Dan Ige can go out there and put up a massive score with his striking. So, I think Dan Ige is a very live dog this week. Same with Jake Collier, 7,800. I mean, people were all over Junior Tafa in the Muhammad Usman Junior Tafa fight. Junior Tafa's a boxer with no wrestling background, no grappling background, whereas Jake Collier, he does have a wrestling background. This guy does have a grappling background. At heavyweight, though, I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It hasn't been tested, like I said, and that's like the one worry. But on the feet, it's not night and day. It's not even close. Muhammad Usman has the worst volume in the heavyweight division by a mile. He's landing like 1 strike per minute, or even less than 1 strike per minute. Whereas Jake Collier is quite the opposite. He's landing 5-6 significant strikes per minute. So it all comes down to, is Jake Collier able to stuff the takedowns? If so, he goes out there and looks like a big favorite. But again, I do have some concerns if and when or what, Jake Collier looks like on his back. But live dog nonetheless. Tim Means, live dog, 7,300. Going against Andre Fiallo. I think everybody's live against Andre Fiallo. Fiallo is good at one thing, and that's hitting very, very hard, which that might be enough to win this fight for him. But Andre Fiallo, 5 minutes of cardio. Andre Fiallo, no chin. Andre Fiallo, probably no grappling. I mean, Tim Means, there's a lot of reasons why people like Tim Means this week. This money line's crashing down. I personally worry about the age and the durability at this point, but you can say the same thing about Andre Fiallo in terms of that just durability, the iffy durability. So I think somebody's getting served here. I think somebody's getting knocked out. Tim Means, I think, is a live dog in this one. And then AJ Fletcher, another live dog with some upside. AJ Fletcher, the path is the wrestling. Brian Battles struggle with the wrestling. Brian Battles' takedown defense is horrible. 38% takedown defense for Brian Battle. If AJ Fletcher had a 15-minute cardio, this would be easy AJ Fletcher. The problem is he doesn't. So, I am expecting him to probably get finished late, but the path is there absolutely for AJ Fletcher. He's dangerous. He could potentially win this fight early even, but I just wish he had some cardio, be a lot more confident in AJ Fletcher. And then we talked about Gamrot already. I think Ricardo Ramos has a wrestling path. Charles Jourdain's takedown defense isn't great. Even Miles Johns is a live dog. I'm not sure he has the most upside from a Draftkings perspective, but yeah, we have a lot of live dogs this week on a slate of only 11 fighters. So lots of live dogs this week. Pump plays. It's Cody Brundage. I think he loses. I think he loses in dominant fashion, but with Cody Brundage, he does, one thing really well, and he hits hard. He has a lot of power. Jacob Malkoun, the one time we saw him go out there and not have success was in that Phil Haas fight, where Phil Haas starched him in a minute. And Brundage is going to go for it. He needs to go for it. The Brundage is fighting for his job here. He's going to try to take out Jacob Malkoun early. He's going to try to jump that Gilly. I don't think he probably has success doing so, but if Brundage does pull this off, he's going to be solo owned, and it's going to be a first-round finish. So for that reason, I will sprinkle some Brundage. Of course, I'll have a ton of Malkoun, but I think Brundage is not the worst pump play ever. And then the fade is going to be Marina Rodriguez, 9,300. Can't get to Rodriguez this week. 9,300 for somebody who's not going to wrestle, for somebody with very limited finishing upside. It's just a very easy pass for me. I don't see how she pays off this salary unless she does finish Waterson within the first round, 2 rounds, and I just don't think that's all that likely. So pretty easy fade for me on the Marina Rodriguez side there. All right, so we'll move on, and that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I like this slate. I like this DraftKings slate. I like it a lot better than the last 2 slates where we have all the favorites, massive favorites. This week is not that case. Lineup construction is going to be a lot easier. There's a lot more live dogs, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you all so much for watching. Be on the lookout for more content. The full card breakdown is going to be dropping. Prize picks content as well going to be dropping, and then going live on Friday and Saturday as well for best bet and my final thoughts. Like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the content. If you want to check out more content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Check out Underdog Fantasy, promo code DFSBTN. And best of luck, guys. UFC Vegas 79 should be a fun card. And then we get a week off, and then going to be right back at it for, I think, another Apex card, which would be Vegas 80. So enjoy the fights, guys, and best of luck. Talk to you soon.